Welcome to this programme about Bloomberg's new European headquarters. I'm Caroline Hyde and I'm excited to take you on this journey to explore our recently completed office that sits in the heart of London's historic financial district. This amazing building has broken the mould of sustainable design, challenged all those who've contributed to it and set new standards for future workplaces.
This building is designed for our employees so that they can be productive, happy in their environment, and be proud of where they work. And then for visitors, you want people to walk out saying, boy, I wish I worked there.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
We had to go literally around the world to find the finest materials.
This is a major civic landmark for the City of London.
This building really does represent a glimpse into the future.
It looks fantastic. We just want the public to look up at that building and think, wow.
Join us as we look through our 4-year construction diary and explore the innovation, collaboration and vision it took to build the world's most sustainably designed office building.
London's an engine for the global economy, and it plays a critical role for our company, Bloomberg. The new London office was built to inspire collaboration, which fuels innovation. Every decision, from design through construction, was made with employees in mind. The new building reflects our commitment to the surrounding community and to the planet, and we couldn't be more excited about what's to come.
It was important to Mike Bloomberg that our new European headquarters in the heart of London's Square Mile respected its surroundings. The entire city block acquired for Bloomberg London is surrounded by buildings of incredible architectural and cultural significance. It's a site with 2,000 years of history.
Across the period since Roman times, the 1600 years, this site has been at the heart of the City of London. Medieval times, Tudor times, Stuart times, through the Georgian period, through the growth of financial services, of commerce in the Victorian times, and right up to the present. This site has enormous significance.
For Mike Bloomberg, it was essential to appoint architects with a sensitivity to the site's incredible history and an understanding of the way Bloomberg operates as a business.
I came across some notes, and it's the 20th of July 2010, and I'm summarizing here, and I say respectful, fitting in, understated, conservative, classy on the outside, and I wrote wow inside. Enduring materials, improving with age, and then in capitals I wrote sustainable.
I've always thought that I made the right choice in architect because you understand the city where we're building this. We are guests in this country, guests in this city. We want to respect their traditions, and I want to build a new old building. I think that every place we do business, we've got to enhance the host, which is the city and the country.
For Bloomberg, this sense of responsibility extended to the historical heritage of the site, in particular to the Roman ruins sitting 7 meters below ground level.
Bloomberg feels very much the custodian of this plot of land. It represents a great slice of human history, from the Blitz through the Great Fire, and then of course 2,000 years ago at the very heart of Roman London. And when we demolished the building that was on the original site, our priority was to enable the archaeologists to explore the ruins.
The first phase of the project was very exciting. We were doing the Roman archaeological dig and simultaneously doing the pile driving. So the early stage of the project was really all about what was going on underground from an engineering perspective and a construction perspective and an archaeological perspective. The archaeological dig was completed in January of 2013. At that point, the foundations could be poured, and that was a very exciting period of the project because for the first time you could start to see the building.
The below ground work on this project, it was particularly complicated. We were building the biggest foundations, the biggest piles that have been constructed in London, the deepest one being 70 metres, and on top of that we're working over Victorian sewers. We have the London Underground, Sir Christopher Wren Church. We did the biggest single concrete pour that's ever been done in London on this project, which is nearly 2,000 cubic metres of concrete poured in one day.
With the archaeological dig completed and the foundations and concrete base in place, the steel framework that would support the facade could be erected.
It's all fabricated off-site and delivered every night. It's offloaded with the tower cranes. The men will then erect the steel during the day. We've built the steelwork structure, the concrete slabs, the cores, and we're about to put the skin onto the building, which is the glass and metal facade as we stand here now.
To recognise that this is a building in a historic city, you can use historic devices. You can express this with a stone structure, and then you want to protect it from the sun. So you can have these large sculpted fins in bronze, which will age and change gracefully over time.
The facade is made up of two components, a structural stone frame, which is literally holding the building up, and a series of bronze inserts which are providing solar shading to the inner spaces.
Stone was an important element of the facade. Once sandstone was selected, there was only one quarry in all of Europe that could produce the quality, the color, and the size needed for this building.
The quarried sandstone was processed in Yorkshire at Grants. Here, 10,000 tons of stone was cut to size and mounted on enormous precast beams and columns made of steel and concrete.
The brief was that the building was to sit well between St Paul's and St Stephen's Church, and the selection of the stone was an integral part in that process. It's probably the largest stone project in London, or possibly the UK, in over 100 years. We have elements that weigh more than 20 tonnes each. We have beams that are 18 metres long, clad in stone. This has never been achieved or never been constructed before.
The stone on all 318 beams and columns was matched by eye to ensure a graceful continuity of colour before going to site. But the design also required complex curved stones, and to cut these it was necessary to go further afield. The Tuscany region of Italy has long been associated with the Carrara marble, made famous by Michelangelo. The region is also home to stone specialists Savema.
What we're here to see is the raw block that's been taken from the quarry in Yorkshire, and it's here in this particular processing plant that all of the complex shapes and geometries are machined. You can see the column backs here, which have double curves in the back of them, and really Savema are the only company that I'm aware of that can do that kind of geometrical complexity.
Craftsmanship of a different kind was sourced 6,000 miles away in Japan. The inspection team, led by Bloomberg project manager Catherine Mallon, visited Tokyo in February 2015 to see for the first time the bronze for the fins that provide the solar shading. Colouring the bronze involved the finest craftsmanship and a highly specialised process known only to the Kikukawa factory.
約50年前にこちらの龍海節という仕上げを開発しました。もともとあったテクニックを創業者の祖父の方が改良しまして、吉川独自の方法でブロンズパネルに色をつけるという仕事をしています。ブルームバーグプロジェクトでは非常に多くのパネルが使われています。その中には単なるキビ板や単なる曲げで構成できないパネルがいくつもあります。それらは職人の手作業による溶接をして構成しなければなりません。また溶接した後、手作業による仕上げが必要になってきます。
we're looking at the weld here, right? Wow.
Filming this polishing process is strictly prohibited, as it remains a closely guarded secret. Over 800 bronze fins weighing 600 tons were hand-polished with the unique Kikukawa family recipe. The following day, the inspection team arrived in Tianjin in China at North Glass. Of the 160,000 square feet of glass destined for the building's facade, the most specialized is made here.
蓬国社这个项目呢，确确实实大家知道是非常特殊的。不过我们北博天津北博是致力于超复杂、超大、超难度的这种玻璃的加工。我们不是做一般的这个建筑玻璃的。
North Glass is doing special glass sizes and treatment to the glass, which not a lot of companies in the world are doing. The serrated glass is very large, with 3 meters in height and 3.6 meters in length, and weigh up to 900 kilograms per unit.
Test samples of the serrated glass panels are then shipped to Germany for impact testing at Gartner.
Today's test was the impact test on the Type B profile glass facade. Quite an important test because that glass has really never been made to that profile before. Really pleased to get a green flag. It was good.
While the exterior of the building was designed to fit into its historic surroundings, the interior was designed to reflect Bloomberg's culture of innovation, transparency and openness. Translating a business philosophy into a building was to prove a huge challenge to the architects and the engineers. The first obstacle, to create a 1 million square foot building with as few internal walls as possible.
Bloomberg required great visibility through the floors. That, as a design direction, meant that all of the cores were pushed to the perimeter of the building. We were hugely excited to have the opportunity to really take building design into a new world.
If you take a typical office building, it has a core. People move up and down staircases, lifts or elevators, mechanical equipment, bathrooms. Those tend to find their way into one solid core. But in this kind of organization, which is about social interaction and the dynamic of decision making, the heart of the building should be the social heart. The priority is about the people who work there and the activities.
Opening up the centre of the building also created room for impressive and unique features, including the Vortex, a complex wooden structure positioned in the double-height reception area of the main office.
We're looking at a bespoke piece of software which has been written for the definition of the vortex. We've worked closely with the architects to develop the form of the vortex that sits at the base of the ramp, and between us it allows us to not only design in 3D but then eventually extract all the information that can be sent for construction.
So this is a very crude model of the structure of the vortex. It relies on all three components to support one another, and this is what happens when you put some weight on top of it. So the thing is a perfectly valid structure holding its self-weight plus the weight of other things above.
Sitting on top of the vortex on level 2 of the building is the start of the ramp. An asymmetrical steel walkway that spans 6 floors. The ramp is not just a functional component of the building, it's a sculptural object that reflects Bloomberg's values by promoting openness and connectivity.
The brief from Bloomberg as such was to find a way for people to move fluidly through the building, but at the same time to promote and support collaboration as they did so.
To explore the practicalities of the ramp design and other innovative features of the building, Foster & Partners have set up a testing facility in Battersea, London. Here, a full-size section of the ramp has been built to test structure, scale and finish.
The challenges of building something like this, which is a centrepiece of the project, is how to build a subframe and then how to clad it in the bronze cladding and make sure that the whole thing came together as a seamless piece of design.
The ramp is a very special piece of structure within the building. It's about 1.8 metres wide. It comprises a fabricated steel section that's been welded and bolted together.
The total ramp comprises over 450 tonnes of steel. In each of the 6 lengths of ramp, we are looking around about 35 metres around the outside, a distance to climb each time to raise one floor. We've in addition got a level 7 bridge which connects to the ramp, allowing people a straight access across the atrium. When finally everything is complete, we will see something which is going to look remarkable.
At the heart of every Bloomberg office is the pantry. It's a meeting area with drinks and snacks for employees, visitors and clients. It was important to Mike Bloomberg that the pantry in the new London building was something truly special.
To make it a really beautiful and open space, we have gone to great lengths to take out as much of the structure as possible and create a big double-height column space.
The building has a direct view onto St Paul's and also onto St Stephen's Church on the northeast corner. So the goal was to remove as many of the internal columns as we could within this floor plate to maximise the impact of these views. In order to meet this challenge, we provided a series of trusses at roof level that allowed us to remove 4 key columns within the main pantry area. This creates a huge amount of space. The trusses that we use to support these columns above the pantry are 28 metres in span and 3 metres deep. This is massive bridge engineering on a huge scale, but the effect in the pantry and the views it creates are there for all to see.
Revolutionary engineering was also needed to fulfil the brief of bringing staff and visitors to the pantry level.
People come in the building at the ground floor and they just need to go directly to 6. It's a quite simple proposition. It doesn't matter who you are, where you sit in the building, whether you're a guest, whether you're an employee, everyone goes to 6. Normally, an elevator would run on an independent structure inside the shaft, but we want to make this as clean visually and as integrated as possible. So this lift, if you imagine it like a forklift truck, is literally lifting itself up and down the outside wall of the building. And that means that we don't have any of the other structural pieces in the shaft.
This is probably the most special project that's ever been carried out by Connie. The design from Foster's was that the car was completely glass and nothing could be seen. We actually designed and built a test tower in Helsinki in Finland, 3 stories tall, with an exact replica of the cars we have here on site today.
The mock-up also enabled the engineers to measure for noise and vibration to ensure a comfortable ride for guests and employees.
I'm a big believer that this company's main asset is its employees. The space that we built, the furniture we designed, the layout that we chose is all designed to make the work experience better, happier, more productive, more challenging, more satisfying. You want your people to be happy to come in every day, to tell their friends, I work in that building. They really care about me.
When a visitor or a guest first walks into this building, they will know they're somewhere pretty special and different. They'll pass the reception desk in front of house and then literally be swept up into the double height vortex, which is really an architectural masterpiece. They will then proceed to take a glass lift directly to the 6th floor, which is the heart of our building, and which we as Bloomberg employees know as the pantry. When you come into this space, you can't help but notice the richness of the materials. From the hardwood floors, to the sandstone walls, the bronze-clad ramp to the bespoke petal ceiling. And it's here we want them to get a sense of the energy and dynamism that is Bloomberg.
We want you to come in, get a cup of coffee, have a snack, stop in Kibitz, stand up and share something, When customers come in or potential employees, you say, what's going on here? There's a buzz.
The internal edge of the pantry is formed by a mezzanine level. That edge is surrounded by collaboration spaces to really promote this idea of a place, a forum where people can come and exchange ideas and work together.
The ramp is a very special feature. Not only does it have structural significance, it's also very symbolic of who we are as a company. It connects people.
And the whole idea of you walking up and down is to see your fellow associates and to be able to, hey Joe, how are you? Give me a call, that kind of stuff. But just to interact past people on the ramp going up and down.
For the staff area of the building, the design and function has been considered with one key thought in mind: collaboration.
I really believe that it is the CEO's job to set the tone. The CEO's job is to get the right people in. The CEO's job is to get them to work together. I can't think of anything that stops that more than walls. And when it comes down, for example, to the desks, we did something very unconventional here. It is not the most efficient use of space if what you're trying to do is to reduce your square foot cost. I think it is the most efficient use of space if what you're trying to do is to enhance the productivity of your people.
The new Bloomberg office demonstrates the new generation of open plan working. The desks are configured in circular pods of 6. Each pod has a small table in the center, but to really evolve how we think about meeting, to move away from the formal meeting spaces and have far more spontaneity.
You can swing the chair around, roll it over, pull out the drawers and sit on them right under the desk so two people can share a keyboard and a screen. That's the whole idea here. Our experience in 35 years of open plan at Bloomberg and 12 years in City Hall, everybody sits in the same size desk, the same chairs. Everybody feels that they're important.
If you can improve the quality of the working environment, that is going to percolate all the way through the organization, its end products, the way it treats its customers, its attitudes, its ethics.
In its efforts to create a working environment conducive to the well-being of its staff, Bloomberg took the unprecedented step of creating a breathing building. Allowing fresh air into a deep plan building of this size had never been achieved before. At Foster & Partners Battersea testing facility, a hermetically sealed, temperature-controlled unit was laid out as part of the Bloomberg London office space. This mocked-up workspace was rigged with air movement and temperature sensors. That's to capture data for this groundbreaking feature of the new building.
When the weather outside is temperate enough, the breathing building facade opens and natural ventilation will be brought through into the space. The air will pass across the floor plate and up through the spiral ramp in the centre of the building and come out through the roof at the top of the building.
The truly unique feature is that the air circulates without any mechanical assistance. In a structure with such vast floor spaces, that's an amazing engineering achievement.
You will not have found an example of a building like this which actually breathes, reduces the amount of energy, creates a fresher environment internally, works with the seasons. That is totally new.
Sustainability has been central to the London build from day one, from the choice of site to the design process and the construction practices. Compared to a typical office building, this building will deliver a 73% reduction in water consumption and a 35% reduction in energy consumption.
Key to the remarkable savings in energy consumption is the power generation centre. One of the advantages of creating our own power is the possibility to reuse the waste heat produced in the process.
That waste heat in the winter is used to heat the building, and during the summer and mid-seasons it is used to drive an absorption chiller which circulates chilled water around the building.
This chilled water runs through pipes that are integrated throughout the building in the ceiling panels.
So there's a copper pipe that runs all the way through the ceiling, about 120 metres of pipe in one panel, which cold water's run through, and through conduction it will chill the panel itself and then chill the petals, which will, using convection, chill the air in the room. The shape is not just an architectural feature, it's actually been optimised to give us the best possible performance.
We quickly realised this was to become one of the most complex and challenging projects we had ever done. This is the first totally integrated ceiling panel in the UK, if not worldwide. So it incorporates cooling, lighting and acoustics into one single panel, which is unique.
These integrated ceiling panels deliver cooling with more energy efficiency than conventional air conditioning. And while they contain more than 500,000 LED lights, they actually use 40% less energy than a typical office lighting system. Water efficiency is also a key component to the building's sustainability credentials. Reductions in the building's water consumption are made possible by the capture of rainwater on the roof, the recycling of grey water, and the use of vacuum toilets, similar to those found on aeroplanes.
These toilets use about a quarter of the amount of water that a regular flush toilet would use. So the systems that we're putting into the Bloomberg building could become the regular system of the future.
In the UK, BREEAM is the system that's used to measure sustainability. It's similar to the LEED system in the United States. This particular building scored outstanding in the system, which is the highest rating that you can get. It was also the first office building in London to achieve outstanding status, and we're very proud. And if it helps set the bar for other builders here in London and throughout the UK, all the better.
At Bloomberg, our responsibility to the environment through sustainable office design is complemented by a desire to improve our immediate surroundings, both private and public spaces, through art.
Bloomberg believes that art and culture enrich and enhance people's day-to-day lives, and that within an office environment you want it to be surprising and provocative and exciting, and that creativity lives at the very heart of where you live and work. We approached a series of artists and asked them to think about the specific site of the building, its location within the City of London, and to create threads between the visible and invisible.
No future is possible without a past, by Danish artist Olafur Eliasson, comprises two parts adorning the ceiling of the vortex and the base of the ramp, positioned to appear to the viewer as the underside and surface of the same pond. Both undulating surfaces measure more than 400 square feet and are made from milled and polished aluminium. The pre-conference space features Pomona by American artist Pei White, a tapestry in 3 parts that envelops the circular room, made almost entirely from metallic threads in a variety of tonalities: silvers, coppers, pewters, bronzes, and golds.
The Bloomberg philosophy has always been to be creative and bold and exciting and think out of the box and take risks, and that's what artists do. And so that's why we love working with artists, commissioning artists. There's nothing better than having a creative dialogue and partnership with artists in our communities.
The reception area of the South Building is graced by British artist David Tremlett's colourful mural, City Drawing No. 1. His response to the juxtaposition of past and present that defines the building's location. It also seeks to soften the space and create an inviting pathway from the entrance to the express lifts.
We believe that art inspires people, but also it brings to life what can be quite a conventional space and encourage creative thinking and encourage interesting ways to communicate and connect with other employees and visitors that enter the building.
Lexicon, by Irish-born artist Michael Craig Martin, features 12 wall sculptures of everyday objects. Colourful, irreverent, they are positioned to span 2 floors and create recognisable landmarks within the vast open-plan office space. Sortario, by Venezuelan artist Arturo Herrera, is crafted from 2 layers of machine-cut wool felt. Spanning over 60 feet, it hangs in the Walbrook Room on the 6th floor. Bloomberg's curation of spaces with art applies not only to the inside, but to the outside also, with the aim of enriching the areas given over to the public.
Imagine this very large site. Legally, Bloomberg can go right to the edge. Instead, we pull back and create additional space around the monuments, the great terminals of Cannon Street here, spaces to enjoy, inhabited by sculpture, by works of art,
surprising, stimulating, accessible. Public art is where we can bring some of that creativity and energy out into the community and enable as wide an audience as possible to engage.
The artist whose work features in the public spaces is Cristina Iglesias. She has created 3 art installations for the public squares on the east and west sides of the building. Her inspiration is drawn from the ancient Roman river that flowed to the Thames across the site, the Walbrook.
Bloomberg has had a long-standing commitment to commissioning and supporting public art, and Christina's stunning sculpture really provides people with an opportunity not only to enjoy the beautiful work, she's created a space for people to sit and enjoy and reflect on the history of the Walbrook River.
Beyond creating public spaces with artwork, Bloomberg has sought other ways to contribute to the life of the community, not least by respecting the historical significance of this site.
One big decision was to continue the line of the old Roman road, which had been lost in previous developments, to rediscover Watling Street and to create an arcade as an urban shortcut where you can walk through the mass of the building, and to bring that to life with cafes, outdoor seating, protected from the rain, is about raising the quality of life through design. Like your thing about fitting in, you can't get more fitting in than to create through the site the extension of the original Watling Street. This was the Roman road that took you from the south coast through to St. Albans.
We're guests in this city and guests in this country, and we want to respect its traditions, and I don't think you can do it more than what you designed here.
This new street restores the original route from St. Paul's Cathedral to Cannon Street Station. It respects the long tradition of covered arcades in London and is home to a range of restaurants, creating a new destination in this part of the city.
There have been arcades and markets in London for hundreds of years, places like Leadenhall where people would come and buy cheese and meat in Victorian times. With the Bloomberg Arcade, we're drawing on that history, but the city has changed and we're updating the concept to serve the needs of the present-day community. Walk into any Bloomberg building in the world and the first thing you come to is a pantry where people are standing around sharing food, chatting, having drinks. It's a very hospitable approach to business. We're trying to extend that hospitality to the community.
We have a dozen restaurants of totally different kinds of food, both outside the building and in the arcade between our 2 buildings. We'll continue the process of making this more than just a business site where when everybody goes home at 5 or 6 o'clock, there's nothing left. You want to add culture, you want to add fun, you want to add cuisine, you want to have a place where people can come and meet, and that's what the design of the building is for.
The most unexpected space within our new London headquarters that is open to the public is found 23 feet beneath street level. Its origins date back to an unprecedented archaeological find on the site, a discovery with its roots in one of the darkest hours of the Second World War.
In the autumn of 1940, Nazi Germany launched a blitzkrieg on London, a campaign of relentless nightly bombing. By the end of the war, 2/3 of the historic square mile of the City of London lay in ruins. During the post-war reconstruction of London, the most remarkable discovery was made on what is now the Bloomberg site: the remains of an ancient Roman temple dedicated to the god Mithras.
The temple was discovered in 1954 and it generated a huge amount of public interest. It was the last day of the excavation. The head of Mithras appears after the discovery of the head. The site was opened and 30,000 people queued up.
It was in September 1954 I visited the site and found a little Roman well. That was the start of my career in archaeology. This wonderful discovery shows that there was a little bit of good that came out of the war. After the temple was found, what they did do is just break up the walls, so it was just lumps of stone, and then they came along and put up this total travesty of a temple in Queen Victoria Street with crazy paving in the nave and the aisles, and the stones were in the wrong place. It was awful.
In collaboration with the City of London, Bloomberg was obliged to relocate and restore the temple as close to its original location as possible. With a project of this significance, Bloomberg felt it very important to go the extra mile and ensure that the reconstruction was handled with the utmost integrity and to the highest standards of excellence.
We got the brief from Bloomberg to make an evocative experience out of the Mithraeum itself. There's very few people who have connected together archaeology and innovation, and I think that's a big gift that Bloomberg is giving, both creating community here in London, connecting it with ancient Londinium, but also forwarding the way that people can actually experience and even think about archaeology.
Visitors will have the opportunity to enter the Temple of Mithras for a timed, immersive experience, and through light and haze, get a sense of the actual physical reconstruction of the temple.
There's also an audio experience which sort of picks up some of the sounds you might have heard in Roman London, but also some of the more mysterious sounds of ceremonies and rituals that would have gone on in the building.
As people have this experience of the Mithraeum, they'll understand much deeper what that actual Mithraeum was like in the past, and how can we reflect on it for meaning in the present.
The Mithraeum was not the only reminder of the site's Roman past, and Bloomberg's investment in giving time for the archaeological dig paid off in spades.
When we started the archaeological project in 2012, we were very excited. It was the first time that we've been able to see the archaeology in this part of the city for half a century. The finds from the excavation were absolutely astonishing. We had thousands and thousands of individual finds, little items of jewellery, 65,000 pieces of pottery, tons of animal bone. We had people's shoes, fragments of clothing, all sorts of things. And what was really, really great was knowing that some of these would go on display, be shared to the public within London Mithraeum Bloomberg space.
Perhaps the most remarkable find was the 400 wooden writing tablets, which give us an extraordinary insight into the daily life in the Roman city almost 2,000 years ago. 87 of them contain legible text, including the first ever mention of London and the first recorded financial transaction in British history. An apt treasure to grace Bloomberg's new home in this historic financial district.
Now fast forward nearly 2,000 years to the 24th of October 2017, the day that marked the end of a 7-year journey since breaking ground on this historic site, a day to celebrate the opening of Bloomberg's new European headquarters.
This is Mr. Mike Bloomberg, who was the mayor of New York for 12 years. I'm sure Bloomberg's amazing building will inspire collaboration and fuel innovation and be a great example in sustainable office design.
I'd like to pay tribute to that shared civic pride, that social idealism, and the extraordinary collaboration between the public world and the private world. I think that's a great combination to celebrate.
We wanted to create a place that would be as innovative and forward-looking as our employees, a place that would inspire them, and a place that would allow us to continue creating great products and better services for our customer. In designing the building, we wanted to respect London's aesthetic traditions. We have always taken the long view, and we've always placed great value on being good neighbors in the cities that host us. We also wanted to bring new life to the community, and that's why much of Arcade on the ground floor is devoted to great food and great public art. We painstakingly worked with the Museum of London Archaeology at Museum of London to conserve our 14,000 artifacts, restore the temple, and create a new cultural and educational opportunity for the public. This neighborhood has been at the center of finance and trade for 2,000 years. We're excited to build that history and to help London continue growing as an economic and cultural capital. Bloomberg's growing too. The future is wide open, and we couldn't be more excited about what's to come.